You're 3 years into your IT career, fixing your 10,000th password reset ticket, wondering if there's more to this. Or you're a year into your SOC analyst role, staring at your SIM, drowning in false positive alerts, thinking to yourself, there has to be more to cybersecurity than this whack-a-mole game. Here's what nobody's telling you. There's a clear, logical progression from where you are now to one of the most strategic roles in cybersecurity. That is cyber threat intelligence. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how that pathway works, what each stage actually looks like, and the mindset shifts you need to make at each transition. I'm Adam, and I help cybersecurity professionals level up their threat intelligence skills. Over the past few years, I've watched dozens of people make this exact progression, from IT support to SOC operations to strategic CTI roles. And while the technical skills do matter, the thing that separates those who successfully make the jump from those who get stuck is not what they know, it's how they go about thinking. So, if you're in IT and wondering how to break into security, or if you're a SOC analyst and curious about what comes next, this video is going to give you a roadmap to follow. We're going to walk through 3 stages: the IT foundation, the SOC Crucible, and the CTI Watchtower. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you are, where you can go, and what you need to change in how you approach problems in order to get there. Let's get started. Let's start at the beginning. IT support, help desk, systems administration. This is where most cybersecurity careers actually begin. And there's a reason for that. You're learning the fundamentals of how technology actually works in a business context. You're touching Active Directory. You're understanding network topology. You're seeing how users interact with systems. And most critically, you're learning how things break in production. Every ticket you close is teaching you something about normal behavior versus anomalous behavior, even if you don't realize it yet. But here's the trap. IT roles are reactive by design. Someone calls you, you respond. Something breaks, you try and fix it. Your success is measured in closed tickets and SLA adherence. The key skill you need to develop in this stage is curiosity beyond the immediate problem. When you're resetting that password, ask yourself, why did this happen? Has this user been targeted? Is there a pattern here that I'm not spotted? You're not just trying to fix an issue here, you're starting a security investigation. The jump from IT to SOC is usually the first major transition. You're moving from a general technology support role to a specialized security operations one. And this is where most people get their first taste of real cyber defense. In a SOC or a security operations center, you are the firefighter. Your SIM is screaming at you with thousands of alerts every day. Your job is to triage these, investigate them, escalate, and contain. The operational tempo is intense. Your world shrinks to the 4 walls of your organization's network, and your timeline shrinks to right now. This stage builds something incredibly valuable: pattern recognition under pressure. You develop an intuition for what malicious activity looks like on the wire. You learn how security controls can fail. You understand the chaos of incident response when you're trying to put out those fires. But here's what's crucial to understand. The SOC mindset is binary. You're asking, is this alert malicious or benign? It's a simple yes or no question. Is it a block or allow for this domain? Your decisions need to be fast and definitive because the clock is always ticking and the adversary is already in your network. The cognitive shift you need to start making at this stage is moving from verification to investigation. Don't stop at, yes, this IP scanned port 445. Start asking, is this IP associated with a known threat actor? Have other organizations in my industry seen this pattern before? You're beginning to look outward rather than just inward. Now we get to the destination where most people watching this video want to end up. The cyber threat intelligence role. And this is where everything you've learned gets flipped on its head. CTI analysts operate on a different plane. Your job is no longer to respond to what's happening right now. Your job is to predict what's going to happen next. You're looking at the global threat landscape, tracking adversary campaigns, understanding geopolitical context, and translating all of that into actionable intelligence that your organization can use. The operational tempo changes dramatically. Instead of handling hundreds of alerts per day, you might spend 3 days investigating a single intrusion to try and uncover the threat actor behind it. You have the luxury of going down that rabbit hole. Your view extends far beyond your organization's perimeter. You're monitoring the dark web, threat actor forums, vulnerability disclosures, and industry-specific targeting trends. But here's the mindset shift that trips up most SOC analysts who are trying to make this jump. You can no longer think in binary terms. It's not a simple block or allow. Intelligence is probabilistic. You don't say yes or no. You say likely, probable, or almost certain. You're comfortable with the ambiguity. You're making assessments based on incomplete information, and you're transparently communicating your confidence levels to stakeholders. Let me show you what this sounds like in practice. A SOC analyst might say in a report, this IP is malicious, so we blocked it immediately. Whereas a CTI analyst might say, this IP is almost certainly associated with APT29, based on the infrastructure overlap with previously attributed campaigns, and it's consistent with targeting of healthcare organizations. There's a roughly even chance this activity represents early stage reconnaissance for a larger campaign, and we should prioritize patching the vulnerabilities this actor has historically exploited. Do you see the difference? The same data, completely different output. The nature of your outputs will also change. You're not closing tickets or swatting flies. You're producing finished intelligence reports for the CISO, threat briefings for the board, and strategic recommendations for the security architecture team. You're no longer a firefighter. You're the person who helps the organization understand which fires are coming and how to prevent them. So, what ties each of these roles together? What is the common thread here? Each one builds on the last. Your IT foundation teaches you how systems work. Your SOC experience teaches you how attacks manifest. Your CTI role lets you anticipate attacks before they happen. The technical skills stack, but more importantly, the cognitive complexity compounds. You're not leaving behind what you learned. You're elevating it to a more strategic level. Here's what that elevation looks like in practice. That deep knowledge of Active Directory you built in IT? Well, in the SOC, it helps you recognize when a curb roasting attack is happening because you understand how service accounts and SPNs actually work. And the pattern recognition you develop in the SOC? noticing that attacks keep targeting your finance department with the same initial access technique? While in CTI, that becomes the foundation for your threat assessment. You can now map that pattern to known threat actors, predict their next moves based on their historical playbook, and brief leadership on whether this is an opportunistic crime or a targeted espionage attack. Each stage gives you context that makes the next stage possible. Skip a step and you're building on a foundation that isn't there. To bring this to life, let me tell you about someone I know. Let's call him Marcus. 3 years ago, Marcus was a desktop support tech at a healthcare organization. He was good at his job, fast at troubleshooting, patient with users, reliable. But he was bored. He started volunteering for any security adjacent work that he could find within his organization. When the security team needed help documenting endpoints, Marcus did it. When they needed someone to help with phishing simulations, Marcus raised his hand. He wasn't waiting for permission. He was creating visibility, making himself known, and making his interest in security known. After about 8 months, a Tier 1 SOC Analyst position opened up. Marcus applied, and because he'd already demonstrated interest and built relationships with the security team, he got the interview. He was honest. I don't know SIM query languages that well, but I understand Windows event logs from years of troubleshooting, and I'm ready to learn. I'm keen and eager. And he got the job. For the next year and a half, Marcus lived in that SOC. He was on the night shift, handling the alert queue, learning to investigate suspicious activity. But he started doing something different from his peers. Whenever he closed an incident, he'd spend maybe an extra 30 minutes researching the adversary tactic he'd seen. If he blocked a malicious IP, he'd pivot to see what else that infrastructure was connected to. Eventually, Marcus started writing up his findings. Just simple one-pagers about patterns he had noticed, using the MITRE ATT&CK matrix as a common language to communicate with others. One of these one-pagers caught his manager's attention. We've seen 5 phishing attempts this month targeting our billing department. Here's the infrastructure map showing how they connected. And here are 12 other domains that I've looked up using Shodan that match this same pattern that we should proactively block. Now that is not a SOC analyst closing tickets. That is a CTI analyst in the making. When the organization decided to build out a small threat intelligence function, Marcus was the obvious choice to lead it. Today, Marcus is a CTI analyst. He's tracking adversary groups targeting healthcare, producing threat assessments for executive leadership, and his insights are informing defensive strategies before attacks even happen. And he'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you. He didn't get there because he was the most technical person in the room. He got there because at every stage, he chose to think one level beyond what his job description required. The pathway from IT to SOC to CTI is real, it's logical, and people are walking it successfully every day. The question is, are you going to be reactive and wait for the perfect opportunity, or are you going to be proactive and go and create it yourself? I want to hear from you. Where are you in your journey? Drop a comment and let me know. Are you in the IT or help desk looking to break into security? Or are you a SOC analyst curious about CTI? Or maybe you're already in CTI and want to share some advice that you've earned on the way. If you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because we've got a lot more content coming on the technical skills, frameworks, and tools you need to master at each stage. That CTI Watchtower is waiting for you. Let's go get you there.